Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, another spooky movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's can't sleep tonight with me?
I am Tiffany Albertin, and that's all I got.
Everybody, it's so young you can't possibly recognize me when you see me here, Kenneth Sanity.
And I'm Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40, and I too woke up with a hard-on this morning.
So we are here to talk about a movie that I almost put on the show, I think last year. I think it was on a poll and didn't win. My wife was upset about, if I remember correctly. But we are here to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street. But the first one, which came out in, if I had opened my tab and not clicked other buttons, 1984.
1984.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say how old I was. I was going to be like, that's how old I was. I'm not saying how old
You were
I was.
2.
What is wrong with you? That's
welcome.
it. No,
I was 4.
Sexy fun time for you.
I was not alive yet.
I was also 4.
Hey, all right.
Hey, high five to the elderly in the room. Hello.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, I see.
Here.
I'm
Hey.
not the oldest person in the room.
No.
Yay.
So I obviously did not see this movie when it came out because, I wasn't alive.
Shut up.
Oh, before I go into that, I should say that we're this movie directed by Wes Craven. I think written by Wes Craven, and then published by New Line Cinema, or whatever word I'm supposed to use there. Published the right word?
No.
Distributed.
Distributed.
Yeah, there you go. Distributed,
Yeah.
released. Yeah,
Released is
Yeah.
the word I think we want. Good
Yeah.
job, Bill.
Listen, I'm here to help. Whatever y'all need, I got your back. So don't worry about it.
As I've said on the show many times, I don't like spooky movies. I actually like this movie. I watched it probably when I was in high school for the first time. Yeah. I was trying to man up and watch horror movies. And this was one of the ones that people had talked about. So
Start with
I
Jurassic
watched.
Park first.
I did watch that. That's not a horror movie.
No, it still scared you.
It did. But this is 14, 15-year-old Mike. He was a little braver.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. So and I remember watching it, and I watched 1 through 4. I think I might have watched 5. And then I was done, and I've never gone back.
You could have skipped number 2. That was fine.
Number 2 is bad, yes. But I did watch 2.
No, number 2 is not bad.
I haven't seen it since Blockbuster was a thing and thriving, and VHS was real.
I have.
So it's been a while.
Are real.
Are you sure? Not anymore.
No.
Yeah, they are.
Can you go buy it? Oh, yeah, you were telling me you can buy new ones.
You can buy new, freshly made VHSs now.
Why?
Where?
Online. There are companies out there that are making them. Slasher Movie Terrifier 2 just got a VHS release when it came out on DVD and Blu-ray.
But why?
But why not?
Because VHS sucks.
Yeah, but, film fans are notoriously... what's the word I want here?
Dorky.
Yeah.
How about particular? Let's put it that way. Well, it's the same way of like retro gamers who want to play everything on a CRT, right? It's got a certain look to it. It's got a feel. There's a fuzziness and a haze, kind of an abstraction on VHS. Yeah, it's like listening to music on vinyl.
Contrarian is a good word.
That's the best word. Contrarian, yes.
Yeah.
Boy, do I like being contrarian sometimes. I don't know. I'm not somebody who would kind of go back to the VHS land, but I understand the retro gaming world with CRTs. I understand vinyl. It's a different listening experience. It's the medium on which you absorb these things does matter sometimes. I just think VHS for me personally would be a way step back.
Yes, I mean,
But,
I understand
for
CRT. I understand video games. I'm with you.
Yeah, I get. Hey, listen, there's a market, right? So cool. Glad to hear that a segment of the marketplace is being catered to. That's cool.
Yeah, so fun story. I actually watched this movie this time on VHS. I'm not kidding.
For this show? For this recording?
Yeah.
Wow. Hang on. First off, you have a VCR clearly.
Yeah.
And you pulled out the old 1985 version. That now was it a purchased from a store version or was it purchased from like a rental store? Meaning it had like old rental labels on it,
No. It's a
legitimately
version.
a retail version. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My dad was really good at that. I had all the Star Wars movies were rented or purchased from the rental house. So they were all like blank tapes with some sort of lettering on them from the rental place. So my dad was
nice.
about, he was really good about that. And fun fact, he taped Star Wars off the TV because at some point, I think in the 80s, late 80s, They showed Star Wars on CBS with commercials, but he went through and he was the master of recording things without commercials. So he would stop the recording when commercials came on and restarted it. So he'd always had this weird break all the way through the movie as he was trying to manually cut out commercials in the stealing of this movie off of the CBS broadcast. It's lovely. That tape still exists. It's somewhere buried in my mom's house. It's somewhere there. So resurrect that thing.
And for a lot of people, that's the best version of those movies that we'll never see again.
Yes, exactly. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right.
Not till Lucas dies. I'm pretty sure. I think there's something in the
Blu-ray.
contract that they can't release it till he's dead.
Dear.
I don't think I'm actually joking either. I think that's actually...
Very morbid.
Well, he hates those things for some reason. But Ken, what is your history of this movie?
Believe it or not, I actually did not see this one. I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2 before I saw this one. So I was a little confused, but I think I probably saw this like when I was 10, 11, somewhere in there, after I had saw Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
So you started out with 2 and then went to 1?
My cousin had it on VHS and threw it in one day while he was supposed to be watching me.
Oh, that happens a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're a 10-year-old kid. Watch this.
By the time I was 10, I had seen worse.
Oh.
I was like, 10's a pretty decent age to start out at Freddy. I think pretty sure I was younger.
I was, nope. 10-year-old Mike would have been like, nope, get that away from me. And Bill, what is your history of this movie?
So I remember seeing this at my friend Joey's house at some sleepover, probably, I want to say 11 or 12. That sounds about right, because he was really into all this stuff, and I was not. And so I remember distinctly seeing it when I was 12, maybe seeing it a couple of times since. So this may be maybe my third or fourth viewing. I haven't seen it a ton. And this is the only Nightmare on Elm Street movie I've seen. I've never seen any of the other ones, 2 through God knows how many there are. I've never seen any of them. For some reason, it's not a franchise I've always kind of been, latched onto. I've never seen any of the other ones, but I have seen, obviously, this one. And that was that first time. I remember it distinctly as I was watching it. Like, oh, I remember this in the basement of Joey's house. You know, again, playing with the sound kind of low because you want your parents to hear it, just sneaking it in, all the violence. And boy, oh boy, is this good. I just want to say it right out the gate. This is very good. So we will talk about it. But yeah, that was my first impression of it.
And Tiffany?
I don't remember how old I was.
Younger than you should have been.
Yeah. Younger than I should have been, yes. And I started my love for Freddy with this very movie. And I don't enjoy all the series, but I do enjoy the series as a whole. And I like this one the most, I think.
That's fair. I mean, I completely can get that.
Johnny Depp too. He for some reason I thought he died a lot sooner than he really does. Like my memory was altered a little from something, not sure what.
You confused who was dying when? I remember. I thought he died early too. I haven't seen this movie in 10 years. I confused him with
Kevin Bacon. Doesn't Kevin Bacon die super early?
In Friday the 13th, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I confused him with Kevin Bacon.
This movie's way better than that movie, by the
way.
Ooh, hard disagree.
That's a salty one.
We haven't covered it yet, but we did. I watched it once.
He was not a happy person.
When Bill first came on the show a long time ago.
Long time ago.
I think it's been like 3 years though.
On the show.
We did.
Oh yeah, right. We did Friday the 13th game. Oh, that's right.
And I watched the movie
and
just
so
because.
He was just like randomly like, let's watch this. I was like, who is this person? Where's my husband?
Yeah, we have the full set actually.
Like, where'd that come from?
When I bought the first one, it was like $20 for the entire set of all the movies.
Oh.
So we own them all.
Might as well. Yeah, you might as well get them all at that point.
Never seen anything past 1, and I'm gonna keep it that way until.
No, we're not.
Until I record about it.
We're gonna get our horror posters soon, and yeah, buddy, here we go.
Everybody stand by for next Spooktober when we do an entire series retrospective on all the Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
I would be up for watching them just because I should.
For that.
In my opinion.
For anything.
I'm trying to watch movies that are outside my comfort zone and just watch movies that are like culturally relevant and in the zeitgeist somehow, like that.
You think Friday the 13th is?
It is. People talk about it. I wore a shirt of it, and someone, oh, look, and show me their tattoo today. I'm like, I'm just wearing the shirt because my wife bought it. I'm not going to tell you that person, but that's why I'm wearing the shirt. I could give a shit about Jason.
He felt relevant in that moment.
I did. She was like, oh, look at my tattoo. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about this character on my shirt. I'm just wearing it.
I remember that.
This is gonna sound a little elitist, but I'm gonna go there. I would like to actually see you watch this again now that you've experienced a lot of different types of movies. Because back in those days, it was, you weren't as open-minded to movies. I think you should see it again because I agree with Kenneth.
Oh, I will.
Friday the 13th is wonderful. and I could see you 3 years ago, Mike, not being into it. I'm curious what now Mike thinks about it. I really
find out next year.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious because I think you've kind of expanded your horizons. I think you might be able to appreciate it maybe a bit more what that movie's trying to do because it's not. I love Friday the 13th. It's so good.
No, I definitely have. Like even like watching this movie, I which I've always liked it, but I had a way more appreciation for this film than I would have 10 years ago when I saw it easily. And I mean, also one thing that I realized too that Helena had brought up when we recorded Blair Witch. I do like she said I like Final Girls. She is right. I like it when the woman survives and kills. I can say that. I think that's the reason I like this movie.
Fair.
Because not everybody gets killed. And Ken, do you want to say the plot for this film?
Yeah. So, real quick plot rundown. Oh, Jesus, I just forgot what I was going to say. A murder janitor slash child murderer Fred Krueger comes back from the dead to kill the very children of the adults who killed him in the first place, in the one place they thought they were safe, their dreams.
Very nice.
That was good.
That was perfect.
I mean, and I like when me and Tiff were watching this movie, we were talking about like we couldn't remember if they said the plot in this movie or was in the said that they had killed Freddy or not. But again, it's right in this film, which is it puts a nice bow on everything to give you a motive and give you what you need to make it interesting. I also gotta say, after yesterday, I really, really hate those fucking knives. By the way,
Oh, poor Mike.
So we went to a convention to go meet Robert Englund, and I'm waiting in line for 2.5 hours. And all of a sudden, when people started coming in line after I've been standing there for 2 hours, they ended up skipping me, and they were having to get all these people who had knives and get the knife signed right away to get them out of there. And I was just like, you fuckers.
So next
No.
I get a glove signed, right? Is that what you're saying?
You'd get first because they would skip them right in the front of the line, just sign their glove and get them out of there.
Because they have knives in their hands.
Yeah.
They're walking around with knife gloves.
And the best part was one of the guys that came through had a real one that wasn't checked by props.
Yeah,
And security was ready to frickin' take this guy and just throw him outside. It seemed like it was pretty good.
Yeah.
He bought it there. Right?
Yeah, he bought it there.
They were like, "Where did you get it?" Well, I bought it here. Sir, where did you buy this from? I was like, "Woo!" Got serious.
Yeah, they were yelling at him, and yeah.
And then
but you can't just walk around with Freddy Krueger fingers. Like that's I don't blame them. Like sure.
Yeah.
Not unless, yeah.
Literally, that's the whole point of this movie. You can't walk around like that. You'll get murdered.
You really can't. As fun as it would be to like scrape your fingernails against a thing, have them spark. You can't do that in the real world. This is a post 9/11 world we live in. This ain't the 80s, my friend.
I mean, and
you can just bring your knife hands wherever you damn well please. This is modern day. You can't do that post COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
swing him willy-nilly.
Oh yeah, I would just walk.
Yes, just swing.
Yeah, it was like I was like, this is just. I was so mad. So yeah, and when I saw this first scene in the movie where he's making his claws, that's all that went through my head. It's like those fucking claws. Because you have no idea how pissed off Mike was standing there for 2.5 hours. So
you were there 2.5 hours, and were you close to your
I was
signing?
Second in line.
You got to be kidding me! This is insanity. And then they just brought up all these jokers who had murder weapons in their hands to get them signed. That poor man must just be so tired. Poor Robert Englund. He has to be. And I gotta say, congrats to you for standing in line for 2.5 hours for literally anything. I think if there was like a life-giving serum that I could take that would extend my life by 50 years, I don't think I'd wait 2.5 hours for it. I don't think I could.
2.5 hours standing on cement in one spot.
No chance. No way. My wife's least favorite thing is standing in lines. She hates lines. She can't handle lines. We do everything we can to avoid lines at all times.
The line was moving, but it wasn't. You were just standing there.
There's no way. There's no way.
There were people in front of me moving that weren't in line. That was happening.
Yeah, they just pop up on the side of us, and he'd be like, "Oh, you're next." I'm like, "Excuse you, Mister Giant, scary-looking security guard."
Yeah, it was. It was an experience.
Yeah, very quick aside about standing in lines. I just now realized that I will be going to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo in October. And my first time there, it's fun. I go to video game conventions sometimes here in town. There's a big one here in Austin, Classic Game Fest. And I was thinking about what I'm going to do there. And I realized I don't collect stuff. I don't collect video games. I don't collect Funko Pops or things, and I don't like standing in lines for autographs. So what in God's name am I going to do in Oregon for 3 days? The Retro Gaming Expo. Why do I attend these things?
Start Googling.
I don't. Yeah, I'm going to guess tour around Portland for a bit. I don't know, be touristy stuff. I just the idea of standing in a line for 2 hours.
You're not going to get autographs or anything?
No, I don't want anybody's autographs. I have no interest. I don't.
No.
Unless Billy Corgan is there, then maybe I would stand in line for a couple hours. But other than that, I don't know. Again, I might get some tchotchke things for my kids, like a Pokemon something. Maybe if they have a card dealer, I'll get my son some cool Pokemon cards. But I don't know. No. What am I doing? What am I going there for?
Yeah, why are you going there?
It's fun. It's fun to be around people who are into that stuff, sort of thing. And the community is fun. I don't know. Some panels of podcasts I like. I don't know. There'll be
a hell of an experience.
It'll be fun. Classic Tetris, I'm sure will be. Tetris World Championships will be there. I'll definitely watch that. That'll be fun. I don't know. Anyway,
Sure.
just the thought of standing in lines just now reminded me. Hey, you're flying all the way to Portland in a few weeks, and you're not quite sure what you're going to do there because you don't engage in any of the stuff that these things are supposed to be for. So.
Are you playing in like any of the tournaments they have there or anything?
I'm not gonna. Play? No. You see, I'm a type of person. I don't do something unless I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be good at it. That's it. I don't have hobbies. I do things I think I'm gonna be good at. If there's any chance I'm not, I will not be competing in anything. I'll watch people. They have the Blockbuster World Championships. I'll watch some of that. That'll be fun. I'm gonna get some business cards for this podcast and hand them out. Hopefully, find people and talk to them. And I'm really just gonna work and gather content for the show.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm just going to gather content for the show. That's all I'll pretty much do there. I don't know how to do these things unless I'm working. I can only attend these things if I'm actually doing some sort of work. It's true. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Okay. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Sorry.
Yes. No, it's fine. I just this movie's great. I had so much fun. I wasn't scared. I just had a really good time.
It does have a kind of terrifying opening where you have just you're introduced to the hero you think of the movie or the star with Tina, who's just caught in a boiler room being attacked by Freddy, and just the way they first show him tapping the claws on pipes and things. It does a really good job of conveying tension and fear. I really like it.
I mean, I'll agree with that. This whole movie is very much like the Alien thing. I think we've talked about on past podcasts where you don't show as much. Like you see Freddy, but you never really see him full on.
Yes.
Like you get glimpses of his face, you get glimpses of the knife, and that really does work to help elevate the tension in the movie. And this movie's so dark. Like
I mean, just visually dark, right?
Yeah, like visually dark. Almost like 50% of the frame is like constantly in shadow.
Yeah. Except for my favorite sequence, which we'll come up against, which is very, very bright, and I think that's why I like it. It's my favorite sequence in the movie. Yeah, and I love the creepy suit up. I really find that I think that's just a very smart choice. With all you get that you kind of have that there's like I feel like there's like heavy breathing in the background, and he's suiting up his glove and he's fashioning his blades. Very, very ominous and scary, and you just know something's awry. It's a very good setup, and this movie's excellent at tension. It just understands the pacing of tension, what's required to make that work. And yeah, it's just a really I'm going to talk about some things I love about this as we go forward. But yeah, it's a very effective opening, and it just drops you in. Boom! Here you go. No setup, just a dreamlike scenario with somebody walking through these dripping corridors of bleeding boiler rooms, wherever else it is, and
an old jail with asbestos, apparently.
Yep,
so that's what it really was.
We just watched movies who made us.
Yep,
you're welcome.
And again, you don't even realize it's a dream until all of a sudden she gets slashed, and then she wakes up, and then she has cuts on her gown. And I like how the mother is like, "Oh, you got to cut your nails," or it's like. I mean, yeah.
Cut your yeah.
But it works so good. Like, it's just because you don't really know. Like, you're pretty sure that's what happened, that the dream attacked her. But you don't know for sure.
Maybe she does have to cut her nails.
Like, it's, or it's just something else. Like, I thought it was just really good the way it does it.
Yeah, everything in this feels like a real nightmare. It feels nightmarish. It feels like something you would dream. And I think that's the success of this whole movie, is that all these sequences where someone's getting murdered, or the dream sequences, definitely have that feeling of a dream. I keep repeating it, but yeah, it feels authentic to what a nightmare. It's very effective.
Everything plays out with a certain dream logic.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where you go from place to place instantly without having any memory of how you get there. There are unrelated things like, I don't know, fucking sheep wandering the halls. Things that don't make sense in real life, but yeah, it's a dream. Why not? We'll buy it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very surreal. And the way things flow in this movie, where everything just flows beautifully. I know that was intentional, to have these dream sequences blend seamlessly in with the real world. So you're never quite sure where you're at. So you're always kind of walking on eggshells, not sure where you are. Am I in a dream? Am I not in a dream? And that puts the audience in a really cool place of constant sitting on your edge of your seat. You're never quite sure where you are. And I can't imagine seeing this in a big theater in 1984 or whatever it was. Yeah, I can't imagine. It must have been so fun and so good.
I can definitely see that, because it's weird. Like, as a guy who doesn't like horror movies, I just really love this film, and I always have since I first saw it. Which,
why?
I don't know.
Why this one and not a billion other ones?
I got nothing really. It's just, it could be because Nancy, her character and where things go, could be part of it. That it's more positive than. But I don't know. There was something that just struck me out with this movie when I was a teenager, and it stuck with me all this time.
I think I have an idea. I think I have an idea why you might like this one more than other ones. It's cartoonish.
Okay.
Like the action, the horror elements are all, because they're dreamlight, they do come off as very cartoonish. And I don't say that as a bad thing. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very over the top. It's not realistic at all. Somebody doesn't have enough blood in them to become a fountain after they're sucked into a mattress.
Right.
But it's so over the top. It can't possibly be real. So your brain just says, you know what? This is fine. This is like Looney Tunes, but with knives and humans. It's fine.
It's fine. And what I think too, and again, I haven't seen the other ones, but what I understand is they get silly.
They get stupid.
Right, and that's the fine line, because this movie presents everything, all this kind of, as you said, Ken, very well, this kind of cartoonish Looney Tunes style of horror and violence in the trappings of real tension. This is a well-crafted movie, and it's very tense, and again, you're walking on those eggshells, and from what I understand, as this franchise goes on, it just turns into silly comedy nonsense. And again, if you're here for that, because I think some people are here for that, that's fine. But this one strikes that balance. You're right, Ken. It's like a dream. It's weird and off-putting, but it is, when you look at it on its face, very entertaining to watch a geyser of blood. That no one should be scared by that. No one should go at the geyser of Johnny Depp blood in the bed. That should be fun and cool. Like, oh, that's really cool. How do they do that? Yeah, if you watch that Movies That Made Us, you learn all about how they do that, which is fascinating.
Yeah, and no, it's not scary at all. I think that also you're probably right. That did probably help me, because it is so comical. I mean, it's meant to be kind of freaky, but it's still comical. So it's less off-putting for me.
Yeah, and I think that's it. I think freaky, creepy, like that's where this movie makes its payday. I don't think it's terrifying. I don't think it would get terrifying until like much later entries, like New Nightmare or the reboot, where it tried so hard.
Did it? Yeah.
I take it didn't do well because there weren't any more.
I liked it. I swear I saw it, but I don't recall. But
it's weird. I think the reboot did all right, but not well enough.
It wasn't Robert Englund.
No, it was Rorschach.
Oh, I should really watch Watchmen one day.
Yep, it was Jackie Earle Haley that played him. And no, it wasn't Robert Englund. But I don't know. And
obviously, he's not going to be around forever, but he'll always be Freddy.
Yeah, he'll be just one of those actors that he's the character.
So, since you met him, did you get a feeling that he was just like, I hate all these fucking people with their Nightmare on Elm Street bullshit.
He seemed. I went to the panel, so when he was signing the autographs, he kind of gave me I am so over this.
Yeah. But that also had been like 6 hours worth of. But
that was also he did signatures, went to do the old photo ops, and then went back to do signatures all without any break at all. And then he went to do the panel with maybe a half-hour break in between all of that. And he was amazing in the panel. He literally said, "I'm one lucky son of a bitch for being Freddy Krueger." He said, "I was talking myself into it because I was a stage actor. I was a thespian," he said, "and I was too good for this role. But then I tried out, and here we are today."
And it opened the door for him for such things like Phantom of the Opera and The Mangler.
But he seemed really nice.
He was super cool.
You could just tell he seemed like a really nice guy. Other than, Tiff is 100% right. He did seem kind of over it but he just, in general, he does seem really nice.
But he didn't push that off onto his fans.
No.
And he just seemed so tired.
I'd be tired.
So bad.
Yeah, that's good of him to that's good. I'm sure, was it, now, do people pay money for these things? I think you do, right?
Oh, yeah.
120 for the signature.
Are you out of your mind? Wait, hold the phone. Hold the phone. Wait. Hold the phone.
Okay,
so
back up.
I'm not casting aspersions. Clearly, lots of people like this stuff because there's 2.5 hour line. You waited 2.5 hours and spent $125 so an elderly man can sign his name on a piece of paper. That's what happened?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But I did it for a woman, so.
Well, that's all that matters.
I got my picture taken with him. He practically hugged me.
Aw, that's worth. You did it for your bride. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's worth it.
This one was completely for her. I have done stuff for myself where
I will never understand it. Again, I don't want to squash people's fun. That's great. I love it. I love fandoms. People are weird, but fandoms are fine. But boy, oh boy, I would never. Wow,
it's the most I've ever spent on a signature. I've never.
Me too.
Never been. This is double what we normally would spend.
For $125 a pop, I would stand on my head and write signatures with my toes for 6 hours. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
I'm glad he gave everybody his time though. Everybody got time, which sounds like
that's. He really did though. He acknowledged them and said something about what he was signing, and as fast as he could, but he still acknowledged who he was signing something.
And he came out for somebody on a wheelchair and took a picture with her, and. All these people were standing in line. They brought her up, and he just came out and talked to her for a couple seconds. Did whatever, signed something, talked. You could you could tell it was genuine.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Tell. I just felt bad because he just looked exhausted.
Yeah, it's a long day.
Yeah,
but for $125, no offense, you should get a signature, a handshake, a big high five, and a back rub. That's what
some people did get handshakes, by the way.
$125.
I did not get a handshake, but some people did get a handshake.
He got a picture with, what's his name? Jason.
Oh, Ken will know. The guy that played Jason
Derek
in
Mears?
the reboot, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Derek Mears.
He's a real nice guy.
He signed my poster. We did a picture, and he went to Mike. He's like, "Would you like a picture too?" It was a little funny.
And his voice got high too. And he even commented about it. He's like, I don't know why my voice got high. I'm like, hey, it's cool,
He's
man.
I don't know why he just talked like that.
I got to learn more about this sort of thing. We're so off topic. I apologize, but I guess I have to ask one more question. When you're in these situations, again, I should know these things, but I don't. I would never go to this. This sounds like a zoo.
You're going to be the person signing autographs one day, though.
No. Well, for $125, I would
not for $125. I don't see, but
I don't see myself signing anything for anybody at any point. But are there actors and celebrities there who just have nobody there?
Yes. The guy from Jurassic Park, one of the kids, not the kids that are acting or that are main kids, the kid who gets threatened to be gutted with a raptor claw.
No, he's not there.
Street.
That little dickhead?
Yeah, he was there. We rode an elevator with him. Nice guy. He seemed fine.
Nice guy. I almost went to see him. He had people when you left.
Okay, good. That's
Sean
not bad.
Patrick Flannery was dancing in the middle of the room because nobody was coming up to his booth.
I can't.
he literally was doing put his hand in front of his face, whatever that dance is, and just dancing.
Just dancing so somebody would talk to him. I felt so bad. I was like, can I go meet him again, please? Mike was like, no.
One of the fucking Boondock Saints didn't have anybody at his booth in goddamn Boston?
Right? Right. I thought he wouldn't let me pay $40 to meet him again.
Yeah, no, he didn't have it. Everybody was freaking standing in line for Robert Englund. That's why.
Tell my story.
Did you tell him you liked powder at least?
No, I didn't when I saw him the first time. I do like powder. That's a good story.
Well, I'll top it anyway. Feel free.
Oh.
I won't watch that movie. That movie's directed by a child molester.
What?
Powder.
Oh.
I did not know that. I also I wouldn't watch that movie anyway. I've seen it once. I don't ever.
So I won't watch the Jeepers Creepers movie. Same director.
Do you want to hear my Sean Patrick Flannery story?
I think we should edit all of this out for a separate convention special.
I was just going to say, this should all be its own little thing, little mini-sode. Go right ahead, please. I was just going to say that, Ken.
I'm obsessed with the Boondock Saints, so I had a drawing commissioned of the two brothers, when they're posed with their guns and then the saying above it. And so I had him sign it. And when I took it back, he had signed...
where Norman Reedus' character was.
Yeah, Norman Reedus' character. And we're kind of looking at each other, and he's like, oh, it's a thing we do. We sign each other's characters, and, it's a laugh, like a joke. It's an inside joke on us. And I'm like, oh, okay. Dude was high as fuck. I have a picture to prove it. So now, one day, I have to meet Norman Reedus whenever The Walking fucking Dead ends. I could shell out $200 to meet him too.
Look, and I just want to say, because I can't let it go. So yeah, you actually like that movie?
The Boondock Saints?
She does.
I do.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
And by the way, all this is stated. This won't be edited out.
I drove an hour to go see the second one, so.
I didn't really like the second.
Second one's heinous.
I didn't like the second one. I liked the first one. I don't know why.
And there will never be a third one.
There will.
No.
I own it. I had a season of my life where the Boondock Saints were fun, but that season is gone. I've seen it. I am in the minority of this. I think it's actually rather bad, but that's maybe because all joy has been sucked from my soul. I don't know. That could be it.
Jeez.
All right. So everybody should go watch the documentary Overnight about how the Boondock Saints was made and how Troy Duffy pissed away a fortune from Miramax because he's an asshole. It's a great movie.
What's it called?
Yes.
Let me write this down.
Overnight.
Okay,
We have to watch this.
I do want to watch that. That actually sounds really fun.
It's literally just they were making a documentary about the Boondock Saints and then everything fell apart. So it turned into a movie about, wow, Troy Duffy's kind of a piece of shit.
Okay, you have my attention, sir.
And
also, sort of on topic, Heather Langolier, the main girl in this movie, is also really nice too.
Langenkamp? Langolier is something that eats time.
Oh. Well, I'm not great with names.
That is also a movie.
But no, she's really nice. She does. If you have something, like somebody was in front of me in line and had something signed that was to a Nancy, she literally had the guy call the person to talk to her. She's like, and then someone else asked her to do it. She's like, I only do that for Nancy's. She's like, I don't do that for anyone else.
Aww.
So that's how I'll always remember her character named Nancy now.
Yeah. She's also a very good effects artist.
Oh.
Like, that's what she does. She does, like, movie effects and stuff like that.
Well, that's cool.
That's cool.
And back on this is why we make episodes. I don't care.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the convention mini episode Against My Mountain.
That's what it feels like. I knew it was going to end up. I just, who cares? But
I'll shut up.
No, hey, it fits all the Robert Englund and stuff. It fits to what we're talking about. It fits in the top.
No, it's an experience.
Patrick Flannery, who knows? He's just there. But somebody out there laughed.
I would have told him I liked Saw
He was
7.
so funny, too. I should have paid my $40 for poor Sean Patrick Flannery. He was only $40, guys. I should have paid it.
I mean, he is in Boston, so hopefully people would wise up and go over to him. Maybe buy some clam chowder. But
Chowder.
So, like, the next scene of this movie is them at the school, and you get introduced to the 4 friends that are essentially... Also, they don't kill a lot of people in this movie. You only have a group of 4 people who are really at peril. 2 women and 2 guys. And 1 guy was rooting to get murdered, so... Well, I did not like the jock guy. I don't remember his name. I just didn't like him.
Rod.
Yeah, I was like, you need to die,
the
Rod.
greaser? The greaser?
Yeah. I mean, he pretty much...
the sexually aggressive greaser who walks around with a boner.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he had to go, but it's they.
That wasn't my favorite either. But
No, I don't think you're supposed to like him too much. I think you're okay with his eventual demise. I was, of course.
I was. You're dead. Okay.
They did kind of feel like real jerky teens, like like really. None of them are great. Except I think Nancy's good. Nancy's cool, but I don't know. They felt real. They felt like real teens kind of just doing teenager things, sleepovers, and sneaking drinks behind parents' backs, and sneaking through
their mom.
Yeah, right. All that fun stuff, right? That all rang very true, and I think that was important to keep things a little grounded in all this silliness. But he's not good. Rod's not great. No one likes Rod. No one should. No one should aspire to be Rod. No one should be doing Rod cosplays or anything.
I don't think. Well, that would just. Be
I don't
think.
Yeah, how would you distinguish him?
You wouldn't.
Oh.
There's nothing to.
Good point.
There's nothing to distinguish this guy.
So here's what you do: you just go up to every asshole at a convention and just be like, "Oh, I love your Rod cosplay."
Oh no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just like how it introduces the characters, and then quickly the movie kind of like the part where the movie starts to like add that to make you start questioning what you first saw when they're at the girl's house and the two girls are talking, and I think the girls talking, they're also talking with Johnny Depp's character Glenn, and this is when they start sharing that they all had like the same dream of the man with the claws. I really like that. I think that adds a level of creepiness.
But Glenn is kind of trying not to be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but he falls a little bit to it when they all get scared when they hear noise out in the yard and Rod decides to attack him.
He's a man.
Right. Just gotta be a bro, bros don't nightmare, bros don't dream, that kind of thing. It's very of its time, very high school, and we've all been there.
Women's for homosexuals.
Yes.
Except not that word. It's a different one.
Yes, the other one.
Because of you, Ken, every time when I was watching this movie, all I kept thinking, whenever they were talking about Dream, I'm like, Sandman? Where's Sandman? That's what kept going through my head. Where's the white-faced Morpheus walking around? Where's Morpheus?
Now, there's a crossover I want.
That
would be amazing.
Lovely.
I want Morpheus versus Freddy Krueger.
I want Corinthian versus Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that'd be a better one.
So, you eat his eyes. Okay. But that's just what I think of now whenever I watch, like, anything like this. That's what's going through my head this whole time. I mean, just the way that you're introduced to Rod again, where he tackles Johnny Depp, as I kept putting in my notes because I didn't remember his character was named Glenn. It's a way to really like make you not like Rod, which I think it's fitting for also what's coming, and the way that when he kind of convinces Tina to go have sex. And I mean, there was a couple parts of me that are like, I think he like puts his hand over his mouth. I mean, I know he's joking, but I'm like, this is.
No, my whole body was like, Rod, Tina.
Yeah, really, it really was screaming.
Yeah.
Please, no. Please, no means no.
I mean, this is 84, so this is, this isn't like Grease. Did she put up a fight? And I'm like, wait, when I remember as a kid going, when I got older going, wait a second.
Hold on.
Especially because she was like, you're not going to leave me here with him, are you? And I'm like, really? And then he pulls her away.
Yeah. They make you... I'm not sure it's supposed to be like to have you think Rod killed Tina, even though like you obviously Rod isn't the guy's not psychic. Like, I'm gonna levitate you to the ceiling, like he's not Professor X here, but
maybe he is.
I don't know.
No.
I was shut down.
I don't know what they're going for with that. Like if it's supposed to kind of like make you think Rod is somehow guilty of a crime that you watch happen.
Well, I think it's a natural leap though for the police, right? Because they're not gonna, they see the guy, it's the only person there. It's kind of like a closed room mystery, and he runs because it's not a leap of logic for police, obviously. I gotta say that scene of Tina just getting thrown around the room is so good and over the top, and what a great first kill, right? Like a really smack you in the face type of dispatching of Tina. Very effective. And even 1984 visuals, all practical, all done with sets and camera trickery. Boy, and it still holds up beautifully. It is really very, very cool and fun and unnerving. She's flopping around that ceiling and just getting dragged along. It's really effective and good. And again, lots of fun. Rod gets kicked in the face. Boosh. Knocks over a lamp. Great. Everyone feels good.
When she just
smashes him. Because we're already mad at him for almost
and you're like yes.
kind of almost forcing her, like it's just a little much. But one little thing that I caught right before they have sex, when Nancy's sleeping, the cross falls down above her head.
Mm-hmm.
I like that little touch. And you just see the hands coming through the wall for a second before Tina's getting murdered.
I love that effect. That effect is so good and effective. I really love the way that looks. That, again, it's one of those really smart visual decisions to have that the ceiling bowing against Freddy's face and the outline. It's such a wonderfully evocative visual. And then, of course, it cuts and you cut back and she's knocking against the ceiling. It's solid. Very, very good.
And you do think, like, I was thinking to myself, when the cops find Tina's body and see blood on the ceiling and everything, like, wouldn't it be like, how the fuck did this guy do this? And all they're like, well, there's a knife somehow, like he slashed her. It's like, and you're not questioning how he threw her against the ceiling and dragged her around, apparently. Like,
forensic scientists
could do it.
No,
Yeah.
not back then. They didn't have that stuff back then. They didn't care. There's just
they
a
did
dead
not
body.
have-
That's all we know.
Yeah, they didn't. The Criminal Minds was not on TV yet. There was no forensic scientists. No one was at the Jeffersonian, identifying the, whatever was in bones. No, there was none of that. Was in this era. It was just like dead body, blood happened. Oh, someone was killed.
Someone was killed. Let's see if we can.
and the guy jumped out the door, and we don't really like him anyway. Let's get him. That's how it felt. He's like, oh, he's been arrested before. Let's get him. He murdered his girlfriend. Maybe running out the door is not the right thing to do, but I get it. But still, like...
To be fair, I probably would too. You wake up, your girlfriend's dead, you're covered in blood, she's covered in blood. I'd probably run too.
Don't touch the
he
body.
has a record. He's got a record. He's been in jail before.
Record? Yeah,
He's got some.
ran too.
Yeah, he's got some malfeasance. He probably put one and one together and said, they're gonna blame me for this little kerfuffle. I better hit the high road. Get out of Dodge.
And they're not going to believe me that I just witnessed my girlfriend being thrown across the room.
No, they're not. But still.
What's interesting, too, because people do confront him with, like, a lot. When Nancy visits him in the jail, she says, he tries to explain himself. And he's like, did you see the person who did it? No. Well, all the logic is usually pretty well presented in this movie, which is pretty good. But yeah, he is very justified in getting out of Dodge. He
doesn't get very far.
No, he doesn't get very far. He decides to hang out. I guess I don't know. Why didn't you just leave and keep running? You ran. You just keep running and running until your legs stop working.
Just waits outside Nancy's house on her way to school.
Right. Yeah.
The next morning, like, there's a manhunt for you. Like, you need to go.
Yeah, not
and
the sharpest
her
tack in
dad's
the
a
box.
cop. Like, how smart is that?
Yeah.
I also like how, like, because right after this is when Nancy's taken to the cop office, and you get introduced to her father, who's the detective John, and also played by John Saxon.
Yeah,
he's so good in movies.
Oh, he's great. I love it. Square jawed man. He's very good. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he does a good job in this.
It's a class act. It's good.
Yeah, totally.
I do like how
the authority.
He's yelling at he's kind of yelling at his wife a little bit. He's like, "How did you let her hang out with a freaking murderer?"
That's too busy looking for the end of this bottle.
It doesn't matter, Sheriff. I was drunk.
And then you have, I guess she doesn't sleep this night, does she? Because I know later on in the movie she mentioned she's been up for like 7 days straight.
Oof, I can't.
I can't even stay up for
function.
1 day straight.
You can't function. I mean, she's remarkably lucid for 7 days straight of not sleeping. That's extremely hard to do. Your body is going to shut down. I mean, I'm sure it's doable with her pet pills and her hidden coffee makers, which is so funny. How Looney Tunes is that? For hidden, we'll talk about. I love her just hidden coffee maker. All right, let's get all the stuff out of here. Whoop, all plugged in too. Plugged in, coffee a brewing. No one smell that. Anyway.
The pills are funny too. Maybe she's not on the stretch yet. Maybe it's after she falls asleep at the school. Yeah, she's already on the stretch of doing it where she's not sleeping because she's starting to realize that he kills you in your dreams.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
But so does it reset at the hospital then?
Oh, she does sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this movie takes place it feels like it's a week's time. It doesn't feel like it's a very long time passes.
About a week. Yeah, it's about a week. Yeah, that's kind of what the.
I don't think she counts that.
She doesn't count that.
I mean, she can sleep long. She's asleep for 10 minutes before.
I feel like it was less than a week.
Right? Like a few days. Yeah, I don't know.
It does happen fast.
Well, they also comment too, like she's had a rough couple of days. She's had a rough few days. People who are examining Nancy. And I will say one thing I thought was very entertaining is when I think it's Nancy's mom is watching the news And evidently on the news reports in this fictional town, you can have a body just bunch of ambulance drivers clumsily transporting a body into an ambulance and have a bloody arm just fall out like, oh. And evidently that's fine. You can show that in the news. No problem. No trauma there. Parents won't mind. It's fine. Show
Also,
the body.
I didn't realize that the movies that made us, this takes place in Ohio. And that will come up later.
Yeah.
This takes place in Ohio.
Makes sense. There's nothing good in Ohio.
There's palm trees in Ohio.
Damn it, you stole my joke.
Oh, sorry.
There's one scene in this movie later on where she's on a bridge and there's a palm tree, and I'm like, wait a second, this ain't Ohio. Like,
look,
I was
man,
talking to Tiff, I'm like, oh,
dream.
this must take place in some southern state. Nope.
It's a dream.
That part wasn't a dream, though.
How do you know, though? That's what I like about this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
How do you know what is and isn't a dream here?
That's why it works. That's why it works so well. Because you really, again, you spend a lot of time, if you've never seen this before, really guessing like, all right, when is the dream going to happen? Because again, we're coming up on my favorite scene, which is the school slang. I think is so good and fun and emblematic of what this movie does well. Yeah, you're right, Ken. It's like you never quite know, which is really very fun. Keeps you on edge.
Because it's right after this when you have her the next day when she's going to school and you have Rod get arrested. Or also like the way that Rod grabs her, like he puts his hand across her face and grabs her and pulls her into the trees. Like, I'm innocent. Nothing says innocent like grabbing a girl and, pulling her down. Tell her you're innocent.
Yeah, nothing says innocence like hiding in the bushes and snatching a girl off the street. Nothing. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Sure.
Like you think he at least would have tried something like, hey, don't scream. Like it's, like don't just grab her out of the, I mean, that's going to make her scream more, I think.
One would think.
But no, you are right. The school part, when she's at school and she does fall asleep, like after listening to the kids just being boring, talking about their presentations, I mean, that makes sense. I've fallen asleep in school like that. This is a killer scene. That too. But I mean, like just like her seeing Tina's dead body in the body bag, like looking at her and getting pulled away. I'm just like, man, this is good. And like, doesn't one part of your brain go, I think I'm sleeping. But I guess when you're dreaming, you don't really think you're dreaming.
So you think that people's bodies just walk around and it was just walking around in the body bag?
But when you're in a dream, you don't realize you're in a dream.
Yeah, and in real life, people's bodies walk around all the time.
Yeah.
It's called walking.
Trapped in a body bag.
Oh, it's so creepy and it's so well done, though. Like, I was just impressed with the scene. Like, you are right, Bill. This is a great scene. Everything with it just, you guys have rubbed off on me because I appreciated it for what it was more than I normally would have.
Good.
I really did. Like, I was like, this is cool. I'm like, this is fucking creepy, but it's not scary creepy. It's not, but it's, and the fact that she's like just following the body and runs into the random girl wearing the Freddy sweater.
Love that. So
that
good.
Was great
She got
too.
The fingers, the hall monitor. Where's your hall pass? Screw your hall pass. What I love about this whole thing is that, again, it's just seamlessly just blends from the real world to the dream world. And like a dream, she's delving deeper and deeper into her subconscious. And it's getting scary and scary. We're back to the boiler room. We're going down the stairs in the creepy janitor closet. I think this is good for me, too, because I spent about 6 months in college working as a janitor in an elementary school. I was a custodian, I should say, the custodial art. And I've been in schools where it's completely empty, and they are creepy. Empty school hallways they're designed to be filled with people, and there's nothing in there but your own footsteps bouncing up the walls. There is something solemnly creepy about that whole vibe. So I really love this. It's all bright light. It's all, I love that shot of Tina's body just getting dragged silently away, leaving that smear of blood. It is very, very effective. And again, as she descends into the bowels of this dream school that's not really real, but it's rooted in real, and it's getting less and less real as it goes down. It's just this flowing river of pacing and artistry. It is so good. It's my favorite kind of sequence in the movie personally. It's wonderful.
And we've managed to get this far without talking really about the director, Wes Craven, who we all know by now is one of the greats of horror movies, up there with, John Carpenter. Like, he is one of the best horror filmmakers. He's brought so many franchises to existence in the world. And, this is really where he got like the big time notice.
Right, because before this he did what was it? Last House on the Left? Is that right?
The Hills Have Eyes, Swamp
Hills
Thing.
of Eyes. That's it. Yeah, Hills of Eyes. That's what.
Yep, Swamp Thing with his then wife Adrienne Barbeau.
Oh, okay. I've never seen Swamp Thing.
It was fun. Return to Swamp Thing is better.
That's it. Last House on the Left and then The Hills Have Eyes. Last House on the Left is one I don't think I'll ever watch. I've never seen it. I don't think I need to. I know enough about it.
No, you don't.
It's rough. Even
Extreme.
like I've seen the original and I've seen the remake, both of which are very good. But man, it's rough.
I don't know if
buddy.
don't know if I have the
actually
stomach
seen
for
the
it.
first one.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen parts of it at
That's
least.
surprising.
Me too. I actually rented it from the library. That part surprises me too.
Why?
Because I was trying to go back and watch old horror movies. I don't think I got very far though. No, this is. I was like,
Tiffany.
yeah, this is like 16-year-old Mike that was trying to be brave.
Oh, I see. That was the wrong movie to be brave.
Yeah, I don't think I watched much of it. I think it turned me off, and I just moved on. But
That's fair.
it wasn't my kind of horror. It's too close to reality from what I remember. But I've seen parts of it.
It is.
I like monsters and things that aren't not
Like
not real
Freddy,
people.
who's not really gonna jump out of your dreams and kill you.
No. Hey, but you can beat Freddy in your dreams. This is. I think that's the reason I like Freddy, because he's a monster that you can defeat.
Oh,
More than other ones.
like we're not there yet. I don't want to talk about it right now. But-
You're making
We're gonna get there, and
you upset, Keith.
I did. But to go back, like, you are right. Like, she's descending into the boiler room, everything. It just builds that tension. And then when she finally just burned herself by accident and then wakes up in the real world screaming, and she has the burn on her arm, which kind of helps, it helps her and the viewer be like, okay, what happens here matters. I love
smart.
that.
Very smart filmmaking. It's all visual. It's excellent filmmaking.
And when she leaves the school and they're like, don't forget your hall pass.
That's good.
And I mean, she doesn't yell "fuck you" or anything. It would have been funny, but it was just funny to have that after having it in the dream. To have, you need a hall pass. And then it isn't until she leaves school and she notices the burn. And then this is when she visits Rod in jail, and Rod starts talking about, like, I'm innocent. I didn't kill her. I just got scared and ran.
it happens. We've all done it.
I still think he would have been safer had he just not touched the body and not any blood on it, and then open the door and be like, "Hey, I didn't do it. Look, I'm clean.
We've already established this is not CSI Ohio. Okay, they're not. This is the very 1 + 1 = 2 kind of society. They see the greaser kid. He's covered in blood. He's guilty. There's no forensic studying. There's no fingerprinting. It's quickest path to a immediate result for everybody. That's kind of the goal here.
Then this comes to one of the famous scenes of this movie when Nancy's taking a bath, and she. So, Bill, I thought of you during this scene.
Why? Why'd you think of me?
Because of fear of drowning.
God.
You hate drowning. I know, not, and there's a part where after, like, when she starts to kind of fall asleep, she's drowning, and I thought of you because that would be your nightmare.
Yeah, that would be my nightmare. Yes.
No, not because anything wrong. I knew that was the idea why I said it that way. But no, whenever I see anything drowning, I think of you because I know you hate that. So I'm like,
I don't like drownings. You're right.
I don't.
I did actually say when she's falling asleep in the tub, my first thought was, and I wrote it down so it was proof, was don't fall asleep in the tub. You don't fall asleep in the tub. And then her mom says the exact same thing. Honey, don't fall asleep in the tub. That's how people drown. And I'm like, yes, Mom. Thank you. Hey, good. Thank you, movie, for confirming my fears.
Whitney Houston died, I think.
No idea.
Someone did die, like, famous like that. Well, yeah, there were drugs involved too, but they did fall asleep in the bathtub. I think the drugs helped that process. But yeah, I remember reading about there something like that. But yeah, no, it just that whole part of her just like fall. Man, if you're that tired, don't go taking a bath. Like, no, water bad.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah,
but that scene where you see her struggling in the water when he's trying to kill her in her dream, like, that's powerful. I mean, the claw between the legs is just humorous now. But, and like, just kind of like, okay, I see what you guys are going for here. But like, again, that drowning scene, like when you just see her struggling in the water, just really got me. I'm like, that was the more darker part of it than just the random claw pops out of the water.
And like, the nice thing about the claw popping out of the water is obviously now it's been like pop cultured to death.
Oh yeah.
But like, this was close enough to Jaws where that was an immediate connection for people.
Oh. I think about that.
Yeah, because we're so far removed from Jaws.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's a very good point. I mean, I can try to put myself in the position of somebody seeing this again in 1984 and how harrowing it is. And what Wes Craven's doing is he's taking these everyday things like luxurious taking a bath. That's a relaxing thing people do, and making it terrifying. Where people probably didn't want to take baths anymore because Freddy Krueger's hand might come out of the drain. But again, it's this contextualization of real safe thing, school safe, used to be safe, school safe and bathtub safe. But using that as a horror device is so smart and good because it's extremely relatable. And that's interesting, your point about Jaws. I didn't make that connection. That's definitely
I didn't either. But
that's because you haven't seen the movie.
But I know of it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've never seen Jaws. I don't know why, to be honest with you. Like I
hate you.
But I don't like water that much. I don't like open water. So I will not.
Says the man who wanted to go see the ocean today.
I wanted to see the ocean from the beach. I wasn't going into the ocean to swim. Like there's a difference. There are too many things in that ocean that can kill me when you're staying on the land. And this is when you first see Nancy start taking the stay awake pills, which literally say on the bottle "stay awake" and stuff.
I know, really.
That made me laugh.
Hey, audience, that's what these things are for. Just so you know, just in case. Hey, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Okay.
Good old trucker meth.
You got it. I was going to say, good old pep pills. I remember going to like the Jersey Turnpike and going into the bathroom and seeing like one of those dispenser units, condoms and pep pills for the truckers that are doing overnights, half asleep, half awake behind the wheel of an 18-wheeler. Oh, pep pills. Yes, legal meth, essentially. Legal speed. Here you are.
Yeah.
Hey, to be fair, Germany found out it works. I remember, like, that's how they did I didn't know this till way later, how they did all the blitzkriegs. Have some meth. Here, it's not meth. No, have this pill. You'll feel better. You can fight for days now. I mean, that's what happened. So, and then I think, this is when she's trying to stay awake and she's watching TV, and you first have Glenn, who then pops in through her window, and when you find out he lives across the street. Glenn is an idiot, by the way, in this movie.
No, but he's so handsome.
Glenn is just a dumb kid.
Mm-hmm. Like Glenn.
He's and Johnny Depp, before he went insane, very charming. He's very charming. It's a very good role for him. He's just a dumb kid, and he doesn't understand. He's half believing, half not. Yeah, Nance, I'll stay awake for you. It's fine. I kind of like Glenn because he's just so. He seems like he has a pretty good heart, but he's just a dope. But all kids are dopes at that age. It's fine.
Yeah. So that scene where he falls asleep, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but did you catch the radio station he was listening to?
No.
No.
I wrote it down in my notes here. As he's falling asleep, he's watching the television that he has on his bed. I remember those old TVs. They were great.
Mm-hmm.
And he's listening to the radio, but the radio station that he's listening to, I am really trying to draw this out, obviously, is KRGR.
Krueger.
Oh, very good. KRGR.
But this takes place in Ohio. Every radio station east of the Mississippi starts with a W.
Does everything west of the Mississippi is a K? Yes.
Yeah.
That is, I was just going to say, how close is Ohio to the Mississippi? I was my first thought when you said that because this is not. I was exactly. Yeah. Yep. That's.
There's a whole 2 states in between a baby Indiana and Illinois.
Illinois. Okay. See, there you go. So it really should be a W.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's cool.
That's very funny. But I like the joke. It's a good joke.
Yeah,
that's
good.
cool. I did not notice that.
It's a fun thing.
Good gag.
So this part I was very confused. After she tells Glenn her plan, how you have to stay awake and that like to wake her up if anything's wrong, and you start just seeing her walking, I thought that she was awake, but she's actually sleeping at this point.
Mm-hmm.
This part really confused me because you see her leave the house, you see her walk to the precinct, you see Freddy at the precinct, and then all of a sudden, like even on the way there, she's like, Glenn, you still here? He's like, yeah, please. Then he pops out of the trees. And I was just very, very confused what was happening.
It struck me as him just kind of placating his girlfriend. Like, yeah, I'm here. But also kind of being a little freaked out as well.
She's
kind of hedging his bet a little bit.
But isn't she asleep at this part?
Well, that's the confusing part, right? Because when she goes to the door, she can see Freddy coming, morphing through the jail.
Yeah, and then she gets chased by Freddy, but Freddy can't attack you in real life.
So she's at that point now she's asleep because she can see Freddy. So that's and I think that's that real interesting mix. And again, it's cool because you're not quite sure what's going on. And I think that sense of unease just makes it a lot of fun. But I think that's what it was going for. At that point, once you see Freddy, you're asleep. So she's now asleep, and old Glenn should have been tapping her awake when she's writhing around in agony. He's all cut and Z's.
She gets chased. She runs to her room, and then he attacks her on the bed, and then the alarm clock wakes her up. I have in my notes.
Right.
And this is when I think she grabs the hat, right?
That when she grabs the hat?
No, that's
the sleep test.
That's the sleep test. The sleep test is when she grabs the hat that you don't see, which again is a very smart choice to have one scene of us just seeing what she undergoes when she's in the dream without seeing the dream itself.
Yes.
That's such a smart decision because it connects me now more to the character of Nancy. I'm actually seeing this girl in peril, what her body is doing, what she's experiencing. The graphs are going. Just again, like you said, Ken, Wes Craven, a master. That's something a master does. That's a masterful stroke. At this point in the movie, we've seen some killings, we've seen some bloodshed. Hooray! Now let's go and actually see what this person goes through in the waking world while she's in these situations. It's so freaking good. So good.
Right, because like if you just have the kids saying, "Oh, there's something wrong with my dreams," you're gonna get the adults going, "Okay, buddy, sure thing."
Right.
But by having her in that sleep test, it proves that, hey, this isn't right. Something's very, very wrong. Listen to your kids when they tell you something's up.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And all the adults in this movie, and again, I love the fact that, and I forgot this, so this was a surprise to me when I saw it last night. I forgot that all the adults, no one ever gives her the full brush off because she's describing things that actually happened. Fred Krueger, which actually Robert Englund is credited as Fred Krueger in the credits, not Freddy Krueger. I thought that was very formal, Fred Krueger. No one, and he's mentioned as Freddy the whole time. I really like that the adults are hearing this story. And of course, they don't think she's being murdered in her dreams, but the story sounds so familiar. So the adults are always kind of giving her these like, looks, as opposed to whatever looks. So it's very smartly done. And of course, you then learn why, because this story has played out before in the real world with this real Fred Krueger who did all these murders. But I really like that touch. Nobody goes, come on, crazy. They all kind of hear it because they hear bits and pieces of something that really did happen 20-something years ago. Very, very smart. Very good.
Yeah, you always get this energy from the adults like, ha, 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 yeah, you're crazy. Ha, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it does. I didn't really think about that, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like they don't just throw her off. Because, I mean, she doesn't actually describe him to her parents until the funeral after Rod dies.
Right.
And that's when they start to go. And then, yeah, I mean, the part that got me was when she's at the clinic and she does grab the hat and they're like, "Where'd you get this? Like, did you literally just put a blanket on this girl? She didn't have the hat. And now she has the hat." And you're like, "She must have just snuck it in here." Like, okay.
It's adults trying to explain the unexplainable.
Yes.
And that's what I think is very cool about it. It's in the absence of sense, they're trying to make sense of something that makes no sense. And again, as adults, we're constantly trying to make sense of this world. I'm constantly trying to make sense of this world. I spend time on Twitter. Of course I am. All times I'm trying to make sense of this crazy world. So that again, I love that. It's almost the excuses that the adults are making. You must have snuck this in. Clearly I didn't. I grabbed this from the dream world, but that can't possibly be the real answer because we're adults that live in the real world.
Also, how do you have a hat from a guy that you lit on fire?
It's an illusion.
Again, all this stuff really, it's this melding of real world and dream world is very, very smart and good. And all these reactions feel very real to me. Like, yeah, the adults are going to think about what is the reason.
So, Ken, would you say that while she was in the dream, her mother was having delirium about the hat?
You're just going to keep linking it, aren't you?
I'm going to try.
Just do another Sandman episode. Get it out of your system.
We will be soon, actually. That's all I can think of now. Watching this movie. And this is the part that, when I thought the movie was in California, this is when you have Nancy talking with Glenn on the bridge, where you have palm trees in Ohio. And he tells her, I like that, this pays off. He tells her the story about people who fought monsters in their dreams. And they would tell the monster you have no power, and then turn their back to it. And she's like, what happened to people that didn't? Well, they didn't wake up and tell their story, huh?
Basically.
Man, I'm so glad that somebody knew that random bit of information. Otherwise, this movie would have been bad.
Yeah. Real. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Fair.
I mean, I think this movie still would have worked had she not survived.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have a final girl.
Right.
Yeah, but
And by this point, it was already a thing.
Oh, because Halloween is already at this point.
Yeah, Halloween.
I've seen once, I think. I'm about to change that later this year, but yes.
Really?
I've seen it once, actually.
Halloween?
Yeah, with you.
When?
And sometime we watched it. My only parts of it, but I remember
Which
seeing.
Tiffany are you talking about? This Tiffany has no recollection.
Oh, well, you were there. Maybe you weren't paying attention, but you were there.
Mm-hmm.
But also by this time, we've had 3 Friday the 13th movies.
Oh, and those have women that survive, don't they, then?
Yeah, those all have final girls as well.
Okay.
So,
I like it more this time.
It's probable, maybe.
It just depends on the death, I think, too. Maybe. I feel like because these deaths are so, like, I mean, Raj is not cartoony. He gets hung, but it's not gruesome.
It's dark, though. And it is the fastest hanging I've ever seen.
I also think that they should, again, more CSI. I was thinking, like, when he gets hung, like, his neck is broken. Like, if the guy would have hung himself, his neck would have been broken. He doesn't have a way. There's not enough room to climb up the bar and drop. It wouldn't have been far enough to break your neck.
Yeah, like
you would just suffocate to death. Would work. Not what happened to him.
And that happened in less than 10 seconds. So I call bullshit. Ross just unconscious.
If you broke your neck, you'd be dead, right?
Well, yeah, but like you said, there's no way your neck would really break from that height. You need
no,
weight.
But if there's something supernatural pulling it, then.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but you think that would have questioned them, like?
I'm trying to be realistic.
What I'm trying to say is they should have been like, something isn't right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
They didn't want to remember that they murdered someone who is now murdering their children.
And that's something that, nobody talks about a lot in this movie is the parents' guilt. And that's probably why they're so adamant on not admitting that this is happening.
Yeah.
Because they know deep down inside it's their fault.
Yeah, they killed a man. I mean, he had it coming, but they still killed a man.
Took the law into their own hands. They vigilanted. Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think they probably just looked at him like, well, that's less paperwork for us. Case closed. Yay. All full circle. Back to the bar, gents.
Yeah.
And this is then when Nancy comes home from all this and then she sees the bars in the windows. I was also thinking to myself, how the fuck did they get those bars in the windows that fast?
Right.
Like her mother got all the bars all like, I'm like, that is fast.
Also not safe, but fast.
Mm-hmm. It's a fire hazard.
This was the 80s. We weren't concerned about things like fire safety.
Didn't we have Smokey the Bear, though, in the 80s?
Yeah, but that was for forests, Mike.
Oh, okay. You burn your house. Hey, the forest is okay. You won't be, but the forest is okay.
That's suburbia, Mike. These things don't happen there.
First forest fires, not house fires.
House fires are worrying me a little more than forest fires. I'm a little nervous if I'm locked into a cage that's heating up rapidly.
You're thinking of Joey the Pyromaniac. That's the one you had to worry about for house fires.
I do not know what you're talking about.
You shouldn't. I just made it up.
Okay, good. Hey, there was dumb things like dare, so hey. We dare you to do drugs. That's what it was. Not don't do drugs. We dare you to do drugs. Here, tell you all about these drugs and what they do. Ooh, they do, huh?
I was a dare kid. And it worked for a couple days.
I think I had a dare shirt. I have done drugs since. I haven't worn that dare shirt. Not as many years ago. I've done drugs later when they became legal. But so it didn't work either.
You still will not do drugs, hardly.
I will do legal drugs. I will eat edibles because it's legal, and I will get drunk.
Let's clarify this. I can barely get him to take his doctor's prescriptions.
Yeah, that too.
When he says legal.
And this is when the mother finally explains how they killed Freddy and how they burned him alive because he got off of a somewhat clerical error. But I was thinking she pulls the claw out of the freaking oven in the basement. I'm like, how did you get this claw off his body? And like, what, you guys burned him alive, went in there and went for souvenirs? Like, what the hell?
I kept the trophy for you. Yeah, one day I figured I'd pass on my legacy. Like, this is not trauma I'm handing you, girl who hasn't slept in 5 days.
Also, this is an evidence murder weapon of someone you murdered. Like, you might not want to keep that around. Like, how'd you get this? I don't know.
I feel like it's the worst kept secret in the nursehood, though.
Yeah,
Everybody
really
knows that they all killed Freddy, and nobody said a dick about it.
Nope. Yes. It didn't happen here. Not in our lovely little burg.
Oh, he just disappeared? Oh, that's weird.
He just died in a fire somehow. How'd the building get on fire? What's all this gasoline that was poured that we found later? The solar? I got nothing.
Less paperwork for me. Full circle. Back to the bar, everybody. What happened?
Because, I mean, that should be a question you should definitely be having. Like, why is there an accelerant all over this building?
It was the 80s. Backdraft hadn't come out yet, so
Backdraft.
nobody was looking for accelerants.
Very true.
This part, this is again where the movie kind of confuses you what's real and what's not. And I think the rest of the movie, pretty much from this point on, you don't really know if she's dreaming or what's real. Because this is when she calls Glenn on the phone, but Glenn falls asleep while he's watching TV and listening to music at the same time. You know, I can kind of relate to that as a guy who edits podcasts and watches TV at the same time. Like, I get it.
No idea how you do this still, but that's.
And I do like how Glenn's parents were just standing outside judging Nancy.
I know, that was so weird. Like, he's just looking up at this girl's bedroom, just glaring at her. Honey, you shouldn't stare. Like, honey, how did you go inside? You creep? What are you doing? You monster? Please.
And then the very 80s thing happens next when she calls the phone and they answer and they get mad at her and they take the phone and put it off the hook.
I love that so good.
That wouldn't work in today's world.
I do miss those days.
Sure do. That was great. I love that. Here, I'll fix the solution. Yeah, so very good. Love that.
It's just funny to me. It's just something that's lost in time right now.
Yep, it's great.
We don't have that, but so I wonder, like, someone who watched this movie who was like born in like the 2000s, being like, "What the fuck?"
Why did they just set the phone down?
It doesn't work that way. In the 80s. And then
still have lamps.
I think this is when Glenn falls asleep, and then she gets the phone call after she rips the phone out of the wall. Yeah, and that's when Freddy's like, "I'm your boyfriend now."
But is this where the tongue comes out of the?
Yeah, for some reason the tongue comes out of the receiver.
It's a dream.
Wanted that prop.
Why?
I don't know. He goes, why? I don't know. Just because.
I got nothing. But I do like when she rips the phone out and it still rings, and then she goes and answers it. Like, maybe you shouldn't answer the phone that's ringing that you just broke.
Yeah.
Not like today's world where they're like, yeah, of course you answer the phone. It doesn't, you unplugged it. It's fine. Like, not in this world.
Yeah, if you've ripped a phone out of the wall and it starts ringing, you walk away.
Yep.
Just walk away.
Just turn tail. Just turn tail. Say, that was fun, and walk away.
You guys are watching the wrong movie.
And then this is when Glenn finally dies. Like, when me and Tiff were watching this, we watched this in 2 different nights. She was like, "Oh, just get to the point where Glenn dies," because she thought it was much earlier in this movie, and it's like over and it's near the end when he finally dies.
I told you I confused him with Kevin Bacon, I guess.
Oh yeah, he said it earlier in the episode.
I forgot.
But no, I mean, like, the way he just gets pulled in. This also doesn't bother me when he gets just pulled into the bed and then shoots a geyser of blood.
Vomits blood.
Doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't bother me one bit. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
His mom's just like, ah!
You shouldn't have told him to go to sleep, you idiot. Should have woke his ass up. Like, get up.
Mind your damn business, Mom.
I think that kid would have fell asleep no matter what, though.
What?
Yeah. I wonder why you don't see Glenn attacked by Freddy in, like, the dream world, but I guess they only were showing the women attacked. Because you don't see Rod attacked either. Not in the dream world.
No, you don't.
I'm assuming you see guys attacked in later movies, but I can't.
Well, we did cover this earlier. Dreaming is for homosexuals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because number 2, yeah.
That is very clearly, an 80s sentiment. That's why the guys don't fight Freddy in the dreams.
They just get murdered.
It's so weird.
It's very odd.
It's the 80s.
It was a bad time, y'all.
Yeah. No, I watched enough documentaries and done it enough. Yeah, like, it weren't good things. I mean, people act about the 80s. The 80s are great for certain people called rich people.
Yeah.
So, if you were rich, the 80s were great. But other people, not so much. And this is when Heather's dad shows up at Glenn's house. And this is when Nancy tells her dad her whole idea, like, hey, be here, break down my door in 20 minutes. And he's like, yeah, whatever. But I like that at the end of it, he finally, he tells the cop, he's like, go outside, watch my house, just in case. Like, watch my daughter. Like, I like that he sort of believes her.
He's just trying to make sense of a senseless situation. Like, and at the end of his day, his little girl said, Daddy, could you please, like, break down a door in 20 minutes? And as a father, you're going to be like, you want to take care of your child, but you're also, again, a sensible person. And you're not thinking that a severely burnt monster is stalking my daughter in her dreams. Like, that's not a thing human beings think of. So he's just trying to, Again, if I'm thinking from my perspective, like if my daughter said the same thing, I'd probably be concerned for her mental health and her well-being, and maybe just to help her go to sleep. Like, all right, fine, I'll knock down the door. What do I care? But I can definitely see that, again, that's not an unfounded thing. Like, people aren't idiots in this. It's a very reasonable thing to not think that a monster is stalking someone in their dreams, and to think that his daughter is something's wrong. Like, she's having an issue, or she's, again, mental health was not really a thing in CSI less Ohio at that time. But, people, you would think like, all right, something's up. Like, what's going on here? So that kind of push and pull of like, hey, just do me a favor and keep an eye on the house, make sure nobody gets in there. That I think makes sense. It's not. I don't think he's being like bad dad for not taking the leap of belief that required him to really protect his daughter.
No, it didn't bother me. It felt realistic enough. But again, I don't think this is real. I think she's still dreaming at this point, too. Because you just don't know at this point in the movie what's really happening. You think it's the real life, but I don't think it is at the same time.
Yeah, things get a little wonky.
Yeah, this is when I think she's in Home Alone, starts setting up the traps.
That's really good.
Oh, my God. Like, okay, the fact that you could go to the library and check out a book on improvised incendiary devices is 100% true. Like, this was a thing.
In the 80s.
Yeah. Like,
really?
People just had books about, all sorts of fun shit. The 80s were the time of the anarchist cookbook.
That's right. Sure, you're right.
Everybody knew how to make improvised explosives, homemade napalm. Like, we all knew that.
Molotov cocktails. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was a thing. It was a thing that 80s kids knew.
You're right. Huh. Yeah, that makes more sense than it did before. Okay.
Yeah, stuff was less hidden. I mean, I can believe that, though. Like, it's not like today where, as we proved on this podcast, you Google certain things and you don't get your response. You get different responses. Like when you Googled how far to fall to your death when we watched Midsummer, and they're like, "You need help, Ken."
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you went to the library and didn't tell them what book you were looking for and just pulled it off the shelf, they didn't ask you, "Well, excuse me, what are you doing?"
Right. That was how you found things. You just wandered the shelves until you saw something interesting.
I remember doing that in the 90s, not the 80s, because I wasn't alive. So,
you didn't have any books on improvised explosions, I'm sure.
No, I used to check out books about frogs.
Not quite explosives, but okay.
I liked animals a lot as a kid. Still do. So I just remember that because I had an overdue library book once for a long time. For a frog book that I lost in my house. But that's neither here nor there. That's what you reminded me of. And this is when you see Nancy go to sleep again, but is she really asleep or is she asleep the whole time? We don't know. But I do like how she starts hunting for Freddy this time. Like she's looking for him in the dream because she wants to bring him out of the dream. And I think this is a really good scene. And I just like how powerful it shows her. Like her taking, her life into her own hands and trying to do something about it.
Which is good. It is like other final girls survived. But Nancy went on the offensive, and that's cool.
This is also my first horror movie one of the first horror movies I ever saw, and this is also the first movie I ever saw with a final girl. And I think that's one reason why I like that trope in this movie. I think both of those kind of play hand in hand. But when she grabs him and wakes up, and she's like, she wakes up in her bed, she's like, oh, it didn't work. And all of a sudden he just pops out from the side of the bed. That is such a great scene. I love it. And just her running through the house and setting off the traps, and he gets hit in the stomach with that sledgehammer. I'm like, ooh, that's gotta fucking hurt.
Yeah,
that was not pleasant. That's a sound you can feel. Like ooh.
I was like, I think she has a few other traps she has set up throughout the house that she does to him. Why her mother's just passed out.
The gunpowder and the light bulb.
This is very clever. I gotta say, the tripwire that goes to the gunpowder that was a good one. And again, this is where we now start trailing into the comic-y, silly, cartoon, Daffy Duck and Wile E. Coyote style of movie that this is turning into. Because once Freddy's out there shambling around the real world, all of the mystique is gone for me. Now he's just Robert Englund in a burned face running after Nancy. There's no real... For me personally, like the terror is gone. Now the intrigue is really how is she going to defeat him? And is she going to defeat him? And again, this still works and it's still really fun. But for me, as soon as he exits the dream world and enters the real, I feel like for me, getting exploded in the face with the incendiary light bulb and again, like the sledgehammer, all got very cartoony. But I'm having a blast and I'm not worried about it. This is all super fun and good. But for me, at least, that's kind of where tension slows down a bit.
Okay. I think it got more intense for me because now it feels more real in this weird way, where it becomes more comical, but it became more real. I don't know. I can't explain it exactly. I had the opposite effect. I also just really like when she lights him on fire in the basement when she just happens to have a jar of gasoline, a big bottle of gasoline like you do.
You do. You have that. It happens.
It was, I don't know. I still like, she just throws it and then lights him on fire. That is so good.
Haven't he been lit on fire enough? Leave the guy alone.
Well, fire is his weakness, I think, right? That's what it was in Freddy vs. Jason, I think. Fire was his weakness and water is Jason's weakness.
Well, see, looking at the leaky basement with all the pipes, it's clear that Fred Krueger is a water type. So obviously, fire type is going to be his weakness.
Very good. I like that. Very good.
And then, her dad finally breaks in. I mean, this is when things get a little loopy for me. Like, again, this whole part's been loopy. Like, you don't really know what's happened. But when her dad breaks in, and then he actually does, and they just see all the evidence of all the fire and then the footprints of him going upstairs.
That was cool. I like the flaming footprints.
I didn't really... this part I thought was confusing where, he goes up to the bed where the mother is, lights are on fire, and then, she just goes into the bed and disappears and the bed's normal again. This part really confused me. And I figured she's is she dreaming? Is she not dreaming? I mean, this is also when she finally turns her back to him and says, "You have no power over me, Goblin King," and he disappears.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
Wind them up. Let's go.
Here. Now Ken's mad. So you're going to kill Freddy Krueger, a man with knife fingers, the same way you fucking killed Tinkerbell? By not believing in him? Get the fuck out of here.
But he doesn't really die, though.
He would have if it weren't for the right ending that came through. If they didn't drive the right reel over to the screening as they showed in that movie. Because then they filmed 85 endings for this. And one of the endings was everything's fine. Drive away. It was all just a dream. Boy, how much of that stunk. Yeah, I'm with you, Ken. This is all. Yeah, the power of belief destroys the terrifying monster you've been chasing for 1.5 hours. It's a thing.
It's stupid.
It's very stupid.
I like this ending. The ending's stupid, but I like it.
So you don't mind the I don't believe in you anymore. I'm robbing your power, Santa Claus.
Yeah,
you're no longer real. So now you're gonna fade away.
Yeah, because he's a nightmare.
My fear keeps you alive.
I like that.
Right?
I actually do.
Okay.
Well, fear keeping you alive is one thing. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. How do you think all the gods stay alive? Believe. Yeah. Something's got to keep you alive. But one person not believing in you is enough to just be like, oh, fuck, I'm dead.
Well, maybe not dead, but you're kicked out of her dream because you lose the power over her because the power for you to murder the person is for them to be terrified. That's why he never kills them right away. You got to play with his victim. The fear.
Yeah. And I get you. I'm on board with it. To me, hokey. Doesn't work. Not for me.
And he really does
more hokey.
He really does disintegrate into a little purple pile of fairy dust. He really does fitter away. It's not as satisfying as watching his head explode. It's I no longer believe in you. Oof. That's really how it ends. I get what Mike's saying. Oh, yeah. Oh man, if I only thought about that 5 murders ago. Shoot. Oh,
now we know where Dora the Explorer got swiper no swiping from.
Freddy's not real. Freddy not real. Freddy not real. Oh man, fuck it.
Oh man. That's good. Yeah, I get both sides of it. It seemed a little silly to me, but I totally see kind of where Mr. Craven was going with it, that fear thing. And I get what you're saying, Mike. I think that makes a lot of sense. But visually, it's kind of silly. And after a movie full of just awesome violence and gore and just non-silliness, to have your main bad to go up in a poof of purple smoke, it's a bit of a letdown in this roller coaster we've been going on. But the movie does save the strangest for last, I guess. I don't know. How does everyone feel about this ending? I'm of two minds. I kind of love it. I kind of love it. I don't know why.
I kind of love it. It's kind of a toss-up. It's weird. I don't like the Freddy car for some reason.
I like the car better than the fact that all her friends are alive again.
Yeah. So therefore, you think it's all a dream again?
That's I think the idea was. I think initially it was hey, it was all just a dream and all her friends are still alive, which, again, that can't be the ending in this movie. Can't be.
Right?
It can't be.
Because she's standing there and her mom's perfectly fine and she's all
I'm going to
She's all
stop drinking. That's the part that you know it's a dream.
dressed and ready for school and she doesn't have a burn or anything on her. And
Right?
it had to have been a dream, right? They're all my friends. They're all alive. Let's go to school. And then mom gets pulled through the door and poor mom.
But she makes that comment where she says, I'm not going to drink anymore. And that's how you know it's a dream. So,
Ken, what do you think about this last bit, Ken? I'm curious what your take on it.
Like, is it hokey? Yeah. But I think if you don't have it, you don't have the ambiguity of the last act of whether or not Nancy's asleep. And I think that's really important. I think the original ending where everything is hunky-dory, A-OK, it was a bad idea. And we have, New Line studio boss Bob Shea to thank for this.
We do.
Because he was the one who was like, no, let's change this ending. Let's leave it open for sequels. And this is the movie that saved Miramax. Like this franchise. I'm not kidding.
Okay. I didn't know it saved Miramax. I knew it saved...
not Miramax. I'm sorry.
New Line.
Yeah, New Line.
Yeah. Like it completely turned around New Line Cinema's fortunes. So it's a good thing that ending exists. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of great New Line movies.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, New Line was pulling out, banger after banger. I fall on the side of I kind of agree with Ken on this. It's important. This ending it kind of had to end this way. Plus, I think it's really a nice visual stinger. Again, it looks hokey and corny on my TV, in HD and. The dummy being pulled through the window. But again, in the theater, you think everything is fine. You're like looking at it and you're thinking, oh, everything is okay. What's going on? This is weird. And then, mama gets sucked through the glass. What a start that must have caused. And then boom, credits. I like it as kind of this capstone and leaving it open to interpretation. Freddy's really not gone. He's still there somewhere. Nancy got away with it. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. She's going to get eaten by the Freddy car, maybe. And again, leaving all that ambiguity, I think, is really fun and good. And like you said, Ken, it leaves it for sequels, which we end up getting a whole mess of sequels. But I'm on board with it. I like it. I much prefer that than if they had just walked away scathed. That would have sucked. That would have been no. That's not fun.
And you also have the three girls that are singing the song too, right? In this part when the car drives away.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I like
and
that
that's
too,
that's pretty much how you tell what's a dream and what's not. If you see the girls or if it's foggy, the fog is everywhere in the dreams.
Yes, even in the school.
Yeah. So the fact that you have fog and you have the girls, it's a dream. But does that mean that Freddy was alive? Or was any of that real? Was Freddy just playing with Nancy at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
When he disappeared into his shimmer powder.
Yeah, because you don't see Nancy again until I think the third movie, right? She's not in the second, I don't think.
She's not in the third one.
Is she in the fourth one?
Is she in the third one?
I don't remember.
Somebody help us out.
If only I had the ability to click Wikipedia.
Google guys.
I
can't remember. I'm looking it up right now, but
yeah,
she's in 3. Yes, she's in 3.
Okay, that's her last appearance. Okay, then I remember what happened. Because she's in A New Nightmare.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, New Nightmare is the best one.
New Nightmare is my favorite.
I stopped watching them when Freddy became a TV. That's when I turned it off and never went back.
Which one is that?
5 is it 5?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
They get really
I think it was
campy.
5.
Yeah, I just remember him being a TV, and then I walked away and I never went back to any of it.
Yeah, you should watch New Nightmare.
Okay,
Yeah, that's my. It has to be my favorite.
I am definitely up for watching more of these now. God damn it, you guys have really turned me on to horror movies. The cover. That's what makes me watch them. If I can talk.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so upset by this.
You guys.
No. Poisoning young Mike's mind.
No, I've always enjoyed.
Such a lie.
Not horror movies. I enjoyed this movie. I've always enjoyed this movie. No, I'm never going to say I enjoy horror movies. You ain't going to hear that come out of my mouth. Like, I really always enjoyed them. No, I enjoy some, but... Not some of the ones we watched lately, and we probably got Hereditary coming up, and I don't know if I'm going to enjoy that. So
I'm excited for that.
all right, I think we should go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Bill, why don't you go first?
Yeah, this is on the shelf. I really enjoy this movie for all the reasons we've stated. It's a classic for a reason. It jump-started a lot of kind of the horror tropes we know and love now, and I think it's just very successful in creating realistic dream worlds that feel like dreams. And Freddy Krueger is just a fun, villainous monster character. He's just the right combination of scary and funny and goofy. And this movie strikes a great balance, and it's a lot of fun. So this is going on the shelf for sure. And I could definitely trot this out once a year for a good time.
Okay. And Ken?
I'm putting it in the box.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. Watching it this time, I'm just like, man, this movie is slow, but at the same time, too fast. The acting is not great.
That's fine.
It's not.
Okay.
Like,
fair.
For some reason, all of the flaws stood out to me this time in a way that they haven't before. And it's not like I was watching it in HD. I was watching this on my little CRT with the built-in VCR. So, like, I was watching this as God intended. And
maybe that's why you didn't enjoy it. It took you back to the late 90s, late 80s, early 90s. You're like, this world sucks right now. Like, take me back.
But it just didn't do it for me. And honestly, I can't see myself watching this one anytime soon again.
You want Freddy TV is what you're telling me?
No.
All right, I'll go next. I'm going to put this on the shelf. I enjoyed this movie every time I've seen it. And now that I've met a few different actors from this movie, it means even more to me. But it's a fun film where I'm engrossed, I'm entertained, I'm creeped out, but not creeped out enough where I don't ever want to see it again. And I just really enjoyed this film. So going on the shelf. And Tiffany.
I kind of went back and forth, actually, between the stack and the shelf. But I think I will put it on the shelf, and it shall stay on the shelf. It has a lot of nostalgia for me. It was one of me and my dad's favorite movies. And my dad's been dead for 3 years, so that's how I got involved with Freddy. It's all his fault.
And horror movies. I want to see the doggy come apart. So, yes.
And so it will go on the shelf. I still enjoy it. I still enjoy the most, not the entire franchise, most of the franchise. And we will.
You also fell asleep trying to watch this movie when I was recording last night, too. Only you.
I was too excited, okay?
Oh, and before we wrap this up, another off-topic thing. Bill, since I'm in Massachusetts, I went to get gas today, and I pulled up the gas station and said full service. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I went to get out of my car. The guy went to help me, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, wow.
So I got my gas pumped for me, and I did not. I just stood outside the car, and I'm like, I don't want to sit. I don't feel right sitting in the car.
It's strange, right? It's very
I didn't like
odd.
it. I'm like, I want to pump my own gas, buddy. Like, he's like, what do you want? I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. What do you want?
It was so sad watching.
What do you want? A cheeseburger and a back rub. What else would I be here at the gas station for, sir?
I was just like, I was like, you don't need to. I want to be, and I was like, I'm from Minnesota. I had to tell him because I'm like, I just don't. I'm like, what are you? I don't understand. I don't like this.
It's full service. I don't like.
And then the car next to me, the guy just never got out of the car. Just handed him the money and you pay it. I'm like,
oh, that's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to not leave the car. You don't leave the car. You just sit in the car.
I literally got out of the car and talked.
No. He got out of the car and just stood there, super awkwardly,
and talked to him. I was having a conversation with the guy, so it was a one-way conversation. Wasn't talking back.
Yes.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, you're just sitting there watching your car get serviced like a fancy gentleman. Yes. Make sure you check the oil, please, twice just to make sure.
I didn't like it.
He's probably like, I don't care where you're from, mister. Get your car and let me get your
I was thinking to myself, we're not in New Jersey. You don't have to do this in Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure it's not law.
But you pulled up to the full service lane, sir. This is my job, my livelihood.
I didn't know it was open. The other ones weren't, and I needed gas.
You know, he was talking to his friends after work. He's like, dude, this guy from Wisconsin or Minnesota, wherever the fuck he was, this guy came up to the full service, got out of the car, stared at me while I filled his gas tank.
Tried to talk to me.
It's like, look, buddy.
I took this job because I don't like to talk to people.
Oh, it was just funny. I even made a comment about the hurricane, too. I'm like, oh, I thought the weather's going to be bad here. The weather's been just fine. Like, yeah. He wasn't talking. I had to bring up something. I was like, we're going to bring up the hurricane.
Oh, Poor Mike.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. Just that image of Mike standing there watching this poor guy
I
full service
stood
vehicle.
right. I opened the door, got out of the car, started talking to him, handed him my, and then I stood right with the door open. I stood there and talked to him.
Yeah. After his shift, he definitely went home and told his friends, "Look, if I disappear, this is why."
Yeah, this is what the man looked like. He stood there and stared at me menacingly, and then asked me distracting questions while I'm manipulating gasoline into his gas tank. Did he check your oil and your tire pressures and all that
He didn't
stuff?
do anything.
No, that's what full service is supposed to be. That's probably why I asked you. Hey, why did you pull into this lane? Want me to check your oil? Check your levels, air pressure. No, just gas, please. Right,
Pretty much. I was like, I didn't have a choice because all 4 of the pumps are all full service.
Because no one wants to pay extra for full service. You paid extra for that, my friend. You paid more money to stand there and have a one-way conversation with the gas station attendant.
The price seemed better than other places. So.
You paid more for that. I hope it was worth it. We got a good story.
It was not. But hey, now I got to have the experience that you talked about. I don't want it again.
That's the worst.
It's just like, why? This isn't the 30s and this isn't the 50s. We don't need to do this.
It was the saddest thing ever.
Just give me the gas. Just let me put my own gas and let me get out of here. I just never seen the sign say full service. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Doesn't it normally say self-service? As I pulled into the station. Yeah, now I know. I'll have to get gas one more time before we go home, and I'm going to be like watching for the... And we ain't going to full service. We're going to find something if I can. We're not in New Jersey.
Well, in Jersey, you're not allowed to leave your car. They will not let you leave. You don't get out of your car in Jersey. They will stop you.
Looking at me real creepy, like, huh?
No, you wouldn't have gone out. They would have said, "Sir, get back in the car. Get back in the car. What are you doing? Get out. Get back in."
Drove off.
Confused. I don't know what's going on.
But see, New Jersey, I would have been prepared because I'd be like, "Oh yeah, Bill had told me New Jersey they have to." Okay, I'm not in New Jersey. I'm in Massachusetts.
From what I understand, not leaving your car in Jersey is usually a good idea anyway, regardless of whether or not you're getting gas.
True. It's fair. Yes. You want to be close to your vehicle at all times. At least where I grew up. I don't know. There's plenty of nice places in New Jersey. It is the Garden State. Some weird reason.
There is. I've heard a lot of bad things about New Jersey.
Not where I grew up. You stayed in the car. Not get out. Do not leave the vehicle.
They weren't lying about Boston drivers, by the way. The traffic in Boston. Woo.
Mike got honked at for going too slow. He gets honked at for that.
I get honked at all the time. Like, all the time. They're like, the light's green. I don't care if the car's in the way. Just go.
Go.
I've seen so many people run red lights. Like, I mean, we're not talking about the light changes while you're driving in it. We're talking about the light went red. Other cars are going, and some guy just comes zooming through the red light anyway. And
driving in a big city like that, again, we're off topic, but that's fine. Driving in a big city like that, especially New York, because I should drive in New York. Not often. My brother drives in New York all the time.
That's got it. I won't.
And it's the whole rule. The rule is get out of the way. Just get out of the way. That's it. The lights don't matter. The crosswalks don't matter. Don't block the box. Get out of the way. That is life. And I drove in Boston last year, and it wasn't that bad. I had no problem really. But yeah, you just go fast. You have to drive aggressively. You have to drive aggressively.
I learned real quick.
Yeah, you just have to be aggressive and cut people off and just be aggressive. Don't be passive. Yeah, you have that. Whatever.
I have a New Hampshire license plate, so I think that helps, right? They shows I'm not from the state. Right? Also, when I got to the airport, it took us half an hour from the time that we got the rental car to get out of the airport area because nobody was moving. It's been the theme this trip.
Tried to cut 3 lanes.
She did cut 3 lanes in front of cars. Just drove right past. Just drove right in front of them and shoved herself. Everybody's just honking at her. I'm like, welcome to Boston. My favorite is still when I went to go get clam chowder and the sign said clam chowder and lobster.
That's how you know you're getting the good stuff. When it's catering to the tourists, chowder and lobster. Yeah,
that's how you know you got the quality. I had to refrain. I didn't want to say chowder to the guy. I was like, I'll take the New England clam chowder. I didn't want to say, I'll take the New England clam chowder.
That's what it's literally.
I know, but I didn't want. I know the accent would have came out. And I don't know if he would have found it funny as I did.
No, he would not have. He would have thrown it at you, and he had every right to do so. Just say chowder, like you were predisposed to say. Don't.
But it made me laugh that the sign said chowder. Like literally, I mean, that's what got me. Like, I get it, like, we all do. But when the sign literally says it, I'm like, okay, this is hilarious.
Yeah. I love Boston. Boston's a great city.
It's fun. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, I think that's everything. That's everything we need to say. And Bill, where can people find you at?
Yeah, I do a podcast entitled The Gamer Looks at 40. It's a nostalgia-filled romp at times through different games and systems and series. It's a collection of stories, people's personal stories and recollections of video games, and kind of tries to get to the heart and soul of video games as opposed to the nuts and bolts. I don't know when this is releasing. It's October at some point. I genuinely don't know what October is going to bring now.
10-3.
10-3. I think I'm still being Earthbound World. I think if not, I will be airing a conversation with two of the developers, the original EA developers who developed Madden and NHL series. Oh, nice. I'm missing those conversations with these two fine gentlemen. It's a really interesting to hear basically two people who pioneered two of the most influential games in history. The NHL, of course, the NHL franchise is probably NHL 94, top 5 sports game ever made. And the Madden franchise, of course, is a giant money-sucking monolith. And these two gents were at the forefront of it. So that should be coming out around the time of this. So yeah, a gamer looks at 40 on your favorite pop player.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's over 500 other episodes to go listen to of this podcast that we do: movies, comics, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. So go check out our giant catalog. You can search everything on Podbean. So if you can't find what you're looking for, you will find it on our Podbean website. I promise, because you can search there. And it has the whole catalog where Spotify, iTunes do not. If you want to support the show, we do it Patreon, as I mentioned earlier. For little as a dollar, you can vote in our Patreon polls. We have one every month. The month when you hear this, I don't know what will be in October, so I can't say. But you go look, go vote. And we have a Discord. If you want to chat with us, you link in the Discord. Please join our Discord. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fear. You'll see a link in the show notes to all her stuff, her link tree. So let's click on that. She's on TikTok and other places, YouTube, Twitch. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, and on YouTube with audio only. But we are on all those things. So go follow us. When I'm not traveling in Boston, I post things. I have not posted anything on social media while I've been out of town. But I do post, usually. So go do all that. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So long.